Potentially blockbuster, game-changing news coming out from Jon Heyman about Dylan Cease. He could be on the move. Will he remain a San Diego Padre? What's going on? I'm going to get to all the reports right now surrounding Dylan Cease, his potential trades, and who I think that if we are going to dish him could be the perfect guy. Stay tuned for all of that, but right now I got to do the one generic thing that you know I got to do. You're watching me on YouTube, so you know it's part of the medium. I got to say, can you please hit that subscribe button? I've got good news. If you have been here for a while, this number is going up. It is going in the right directions. We love and appreciate all the new fans. We are a new channel, but we're trying to flip that to be more returning subscribed viewers than new viewers every time because we want to help build a community here as the Padres season gets going. Because Padres Digest is here to ride emotional shotgun with you, if you will, through all things like having a star pitcher potentially traded away. So Dylan Cease, let's talk about this guy right here who I showed you at the start of this episode. Reports coming out, like I mentioned, from Jon Heyman. He is a New York-based reporter. He has a quote that I bring it up here that some people are a little torn about whether or not Dylan Cease is or is not on the market. And I think that that's interesting given that there have been also just sort of conflicting reports over the course of months, not currently at this one moment, but at different times as to whether or not anybody was on the dish or on the block that they were trying to dish or that they were trying to dump some salary or some this, that, or the other. You know, maybe this guy goes, maybe that guy goes, maybe that's a bundle, maybe this is a deal. And I think that Dylan Cease is a hot commodity. He is a very much in that perfect range of he's age-wise and contract-wise. Like he's 29, 1 year left on the deal, so he's a perfect little mercenary where you don't have to necessarily entirely bankrupt your organization in acquiring him, but also somebody that you would, I think, as a team, want to then go ahead and try and re-sign long-term in terms of he is a potential superstar. He's a 1 or 2 starting pitcher in any rotation in Major League Baseball, as he is with the Padres. So he obviously is somebody that's going to get interest, and he has gotten a ton of interest during the offseason, and he's a really good pitcher. But I think that the question for me, as I'm trying to pull this back up, my apologies, is where do we go in terms of the panic level? Because I think everybody wants him to be a Padre. Everyone enjoys him being a Padre. But there is a mix of two things going on here. One being Dylan Cease has only 1 more year as a San Diego Padre, and even if the outlook is rosy and most likely that he, if he comes out saying, hey, I love it here, I love the new group that is in charge, I love the brothers, let's make this happen, I want to be a career, the long-term Padre, let's sign a 5-year deal, like whatever it is, if he comes out and says something, I still won't trust it until it actually is pen to paper. So it's hard to take something on faith and just be like, hey, can we play out this season, Cease, and we'll get to it, and I promise we'll make you a good offer. Like, I hate that kind of mentality because that just feels like, historically speaking, for the Padres, and that might have nothing to do with right now, but historically speaking, we don't win those. We take L's there, and we lose those players. So I want him either locked up or dealt for maximum return. What is maximum return? Who are some of these teams that Heyman is hearing 50-50? It seems like the main culprit is the New York Yankees in terms of a team that has had notable pitching injuries with now a second or third, depending on how you were looking at who was going to make what part of either the bullpen or the rotation, pitcher going on the IL, and they are looking at a pitching what was surplus turning into a deficit very, very quickly. And I think that they are a team that has enough assets and enough money, and it makes kind of sense that right now, if anybody would be, hey, we're gonna come out and say, oh, we don't want to trade him, we're not gonna trade him, but maybe if it was this guy, like maybe if it was the Yankees, make a lot of sense. They have the room, they have the capability of doing it. I would like to say though that I have only one Yankee for you who I think is worth the trade, and hear me out on this one. Boom. Right there. If we are going to trade Cease, and this isn't realistic, But I also don't think it's realistic that we necessarily trade him right away. And also Stanton is injured right now, so this is flawed principle on, on its initial premise. But I think that the Yankees, and hear me out on how we make this happen. The Yankees are in a deficit right now, but it's not red flag time. It's still spring training time. We've got a couple weeks. They can figure it out. They can afford the first 40 games of the season to go sideways before they finally are like, we're getting dead. Like, there is some wiggle room here with the Yankees and with this deal. So let Stanton come back. Let him get healthy. Let him return to duty. All right, cool. We don't need to rush this trade, but I think in the next month or two, you could see the need really peak, and the forecast being that they need pitching to stay in their division. Padres, and we have another video, so make sure you hit the subscribe button because you will get this next in the feed of we're talking about Yu Darvish's elbow and what's going on there. So there could be reasons why maybe the Padres don't even actually entertain all of this and reports dry up. But I think if you're talking about who we've got, Pivetta looks good, King looks good, and there are a couple of other dudes that could maybe fill in there until you find another long-term person. You let Cease go, and this is a more manageable contract situation. Look, you look at the numbers for Stanton last year: 233 hitter, 27 home. Like, he's good. He's not the guy there. He's not gonna be the guy on any team. He has a lot of other flaws, like his defensive metrics, speed, is this, that, the other. But I think that if you're gonna ask for who fixes what role, he comes in, he plays DH, he takes a couple of games every now and then in left field, just crushes the ball, and I think fits in that. Either you put him at like second to bolster that, or you put him down at like fifth or seventh or something. Like, he could be the answer. And like I said, that might all be pie in the sky. That might all change a million times. But I'm saying this also metaphorically in that I don't think the Padres should settle for anything other than a mega haul back from this. Because if at the worst case you're telling me is that we ride or die with him and we have a great season, sometimes I just got to take that. Sometimes you got to just play the chips that you're dealt, and you got to say, hey, look, if we get into a 4-game series and he's one of the guys going in that 4-game series, we actually kind of like our chances there. So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying let's set the standards high. There are 50-50-ish mixed reporting, so this is a moderate to low level of stress or concern if you are somebody that enjoys Dylan Cease being a San Diego Padre. This is just giving you a heads up. The Yankee conversation is seemingly to be kind of like the Preller's keeping an ear to the room there and just seeing what's good on that front. So nothing to be worried about, but let me know in the comment section. Do you like this idea? Who would you trade him for? What do you think is his value? Or do you think the Padres need to sign him? Or should the Padres just let him go? Maybe you're that kind of crazy, but you've got some sort of other master plan. Drop a comment. Make sure you subscribe. Until then, we'll talk to you guys soon.